Hey y'all, welcome to the Finding Joy podcast. My name is CEO Billy Thomas, and today we're going to be talking about for all of you that have been dreaming about having your own business. I have a special guest. Her name is Irene, and I met her in the inner circle with Omar Al Katouri. We're both being coached, and we are just leveling up our business, and we're hoping that we can help you get one started. Y'all, welcome Irene. Irene, how you doing?
Yes, Billy, I'm doing amazing.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Billy. I love your energy, love everything you're doing to help people and serve people, and I'm honored that you would have me come and speak for a minute.
Oh man, I'm so honored to have you on, and it was nice. Sherry is still talking about baby stacks where we had that breakfast.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Come
They
on,
put us to sleep during breakfast time, but in a good way.
I'm telling you, like we had a table full of food, but boy was it was worth it. It
Amazing.
was all it
So
was all
good.
worth it. It's a good thing I didn't need it. It didn't need it all though. I would have had a big.
Oh man, but it was a perfect end of our meeting, end of our hang, to just break bread together, and then
It
we
was
say see
nice.
you later, see you next time. That was great, man.
That's right. That's right. That's good. So we are literally going to go through really it's a talk that you gave. Now, one of the things that y'all need to know is we both are musicians. Now, I am a beginner musician. All right. So I've had the privilege of leading some worship and that type of thing. But Irene, I would love for you to tell our listening audience and those that might be watching on YouTube, tell a little bit about your moment, like the moment, like the apex of your musical career, because I loved hearing that. Can you tell them just a little bit about that, a little bit about what into that?
Oh man, the apex, the moment for me, like the highest moment that if I could just live over and over again every day, I would totally insert myself into this moment was having opportunity to play with a 100-piece orchestra at the Walt Disney Concert Hall here in downtown Los Angeles. And I was in the middle of the orchestra. I was playing the piano, and this was a beautiful 9-foot Steinway grand piano, man. And the orchestra is just perfectly centered all around me, semicircle and layered. So all the horns, all the strings, all the percussion in their sections. And we're playing this Luther Vandross tribute in the Walt
Okay.
Disney Concert Hall with this big, beautiful sound. Shout out to my friend Abraham McDonald, awesome vocalist. But it was amazing. And so, just two things: being in the middle of a live orchestra, right? And just playing with them, but also hearing it, like the surround sound effect. I can't even describe it. I
I
can't even
can't
describe it, but
imagine. I
also
can't
having the
imagine.
chance to do that, playing Luther Vandross music. And so it was different, but it was just a moving experience. I'll never forget it, man. Yeah.
That's so good. How many hours do you think you practiced before that
Oh my
moment?
goodness. Leading up to that, it was a lot of hours put in because I actually got the call. God works in crazy ways, but something happened with the musician that they had in place, so they were scrapping looking for somebody. I got that music maybe 8 days before the show, and we had rehearsal after rehearsal, rehearsing with different sections, rehearsing with the orchestra, rehearsing with the singers. I had a private rehearsal with the conductor himself, and then it was time for the event, man, and it was amazing. So much fun and just an honor to have that memory forever. I'll never forget that, man.
Wow. No, that I love hearing the story every time. It's so fun. I wish that now I'm so glad you sent me that moment, but I wish I could have been there because
Oh,
I know it would have been awesome.
magical, man. Just a moving experience. But hey, I got some video clips and was able to share it with you, just kind of give you some taste. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I have my own business. I have a Fortune 500 consulting business. Sherry and I, my wife, we did a coffee house business, and then you have a business. So would you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about your business and how you make money with it?
yes. Okay. Well, in particularly, we're discussing the LLC formation and business
Yes.
credit, business coaching and mentoring. I started doing this business this year, actually, after just kind of giving free advice to my family and friends, over the past couple of years. What really pushed me to get into this was the time immediately following the pandemic.
Ooh, okay.
And realizing for myself, like, oh, I need to find other ways to make sure I'm ready, I'm locked in with other options. I have a backup plan
Mm.
for the backup plan for the backup plan.
Yeah, there you
Because
go.
yeah, that pandemic time taught us a lot. So at the time, I was really deep into being a creative and being an artist, and I honestly had not had those things set up for myself. So I went into a deep dive research, got some coaching. I signed up for some classes. I got some digital products out. I learned as much as I could. I went down a rabbit hole of YouTube, Google, social media. It was just like deep dive research, and I came up with my own strategy, my own formula that I was able to repeat for myself, repeat for my close family, give some other of my entertainment peers advice to help them form their LLC and get their business ready to receive funding, particularly business credit. And
Okay.
if your LLC is structured properly on paper, it puts you in position to receive other funding. Once the foundation is there, that's what other partners need to see, whether they're investor partners in the sponsorship deals, grant opportunities, whatever the case is. The first part is having our business properly structured on paper, having all the documents anyone would ask for, everything needed to make our file look complete, trustworthy, credible, safe, something desirable that someone else would want to represent and work with. So that's how I got into it. And the way that
Mm.
I make money with it is a variety of ways. But I started off, I offered some free advice on my social media, free mini masterclass, things like that. But as we get into that, people have a chance to work with me one on one. I offer one on one consulting. And then I am in the process of continuing to work on my extended offer, which is a 90-day program for me to offer a done for you service. It's a starter based program, but in this done for you service, Billy, I'm telling the person I will take the time, needed to make sure everything is laid out in your LLC structure. You're in compliance with the state. You have a file, digital file, and a physical file where you can look at every document, your articles of organization, your operational agreement, certificate of good standing, initial filing report. Everything needed will be in one place. Also, during that process, we're going to go ahead and set up some business accounts for you. Get your Dun and Bradstreet number. Now I'm kind of getting into the conversation, but I'm just giving you a
Yeah,
shout
no, it's
of
good. It's
something.
good.
You
Yeah.
know, Dun and Bradstreet. Make sure you have the proper NAICS codes. Very important when you're looking at funding. And then toward the end of that 90 days, the goal is you have a proper LLC structure. You have business accounts in place. You have all the codes, all the numbers, the supporting accounts needed to confidently apply for business credit. And I help you make that transition. So we start with a few simple trade accounts, trade lines to start reporting to your business credit so that you can start building out a payday score. That's how you start building your business credit profile.
Okay.
So that's just a shadowing
All right.
you know,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I'm excited about this though, man. So many, especially creatives and musicians, and I have a heart for that because that's the industry I come from, and I know
Yeah.
that a lot of us are not thinking in that way. We just want to play, we just want to perform, we just want to do our art, but there's a whole other world of opportunity that is missing if we just take the time to do these things. So I offer the one side to teach people how to do it, and I'm really passionate about that. It's important to give you the power, right? Put the power in your hands so you know what's happening. You know what these things are that I just listed. But for the convenience and for those who want a more expedited process, this dump you service that I'm implementing is going to be major key for people. So
So good.
yeah, man, yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about why bother? Like, I've been just collecting my checks. I've been, getting the cash thrown in the hat.
I'm good. Yeah.
I got my guitar case open and they're just throwing the cash. Like, so why bother with the LLC?
I'm so glad you used the example too. Like I got my guitar case, so I'm doing my gigs. Because Billy, let me tell you, that's where I was. I was saying the same
Okay.
thing. Yeah, again, there was a drastic moment, aka the pandemic, that happened in all of our lives that made me realize, oh, when these gigs dry up, you know what I mean? When these opportunities dry up, you need to have a foundation. You need to have an outlet and a blanket of security to say, well, I can go apply for funding. I can go, sustain my business because I have the proper documents already in place. So, in my opinion, that's the first thing. That's why I bother. Just to have it. Let me tell you, a lot of people don't understand. It's so easy to have these things available to you. The majority of the things I just mentioned are free. To get your EIN, which is like your social security number for your LLC, that is a free thing. You know what I mean? There is some initial startup fee, like filing with your state, and that varies from state to state. I'm learning a whole lot more about all 50 states as I get deeper into this because
I bet.
I'm listed. I'm stationed in California, and I have family and friends back home in Tennessee. And Billy, would you believe? In California, the initial startup cost for LLC filing the paperwork with the state is only $90. However, in Tennessee, it's $300. It's
What?
$300 to file the same exact paperwork to get your articles of organization and to file an initial report. And so I said, wow, this I have to do a deep dive because I want to be very knowledgeable of every state, you know what I mean? And granted, I have some clients from different states, but I'm on the West Coast, so I'm talking to a lot of people in California, but it's spreading out. I talking to some people in New York and Tennessee and Vegas now. So yeah, we want to look at what's needed per state. But what I want to say to everyone is it's an investment well worth it. And so back to your initial question, that's why you want to bother. Because what if, Lord forbid, nothing like a pandemic ever again, but you never know. Even if
Yeah.
some people like to stay away from credit and things like that, and that's to each his own. However, you never know when you're in a situation where something dried up, or the way that you work, or something changed, and because you do not have proper paperwork, proper filing with the state, you're not able to go to an institution, to a bank, and say, "This is my paperwork. This is my business. I'm in compliance. This is what I'm asking for. This is what I need." They won't even give you a chance if you don't have the basic documents to
Right.
show that you're trustworthy and safe and somebody that they want to represent. So that's why you should bother. Definitely keep doing your
Yeah.
thing. Let's keep building as much as we can. Independence is always the goal. So as much as we don't have to depend on certain things and
That's good.
situations, that's
That's
great.
good.
However, it's a world of opportunity and world of funding that we're leaving on the table. And security blanket in case we ever need it. It's there. Our stuff is properly set up. We're ready to go. We can confidently go ask for what we need because we have it. We're ready. We have our documents.
That's good. That's good. Does an LLC help protect like your personal like home and your bank accounts? Like how does that work?
Very good question, and absolutely yes. And the thing I love about LLC, because Billy, there are different business entities, right? You could choose to sign up as a sole proprietor. You could choose to do that. A little less protection there legally, but that is an option. And then larger companies, some of them choose to go a corporation or C corp or S corp, and that gets into a whole nother world of how the management and the structure is set up. But LLC for entrepreneurs, which is my specialty for entrepreneurs and small business owners. This is the best way to go when deciding your business entity and the protections that it gives. The thing I love about it is in the name. The abbreviation itself, limited liability company. Okay.
Okay.
So there you go. It's letting you know off the top, hey, this entity it takes it creates limited liability for the owner, right? For the people in charge. To make a long story short, if anything were to happen legally with that business entity, right, you are automatically the business is covered through that paperwork. Here we go. That filing with the state. That why bother question again? Let's go back. Your business is already covered through that paperwork and you're filing with the state. That is the limited liability coverage. You've taken the time to properly register and set up, and you're in compliance every year with what your state is asking. You automatically have that limited liability protection for that business. and it separates your home, your personal accounts, your cars. So if anything were to happen in that business, people would have to deal with the business entity alone. They can't come and say, "Oh, Billy,
Yeah.
I need to address Billy about his home, his personal accounts or his cars." No, because Billy has a separate entity, and you got to deal with that separate entity alone. And let me tell you, Billy, that's not only for protecting your personal assets, but that also goes into your funds and things like that. So if now we want to always try to be a good compliance and keep up with our debts, but some life happens sometimes, right? In the personal
Yeah.
end, also on the business end, life happens, things happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
the debt can add up. What I want to say to it is, if and or when the debt adds up on the business side, guess what? It still separates your responsibility on the personal end. Like, yes, you want to take care of those things, but legally they have to deal with their business entity. And so
I
it's
got you.
just it gives you a sense of separation. That's what it is. It separates you from this entity that you've taken the time to set up. And your personal world is over here, your business world is over here. And that goes into another part of the conversation as well, as far as keeping everything separate. You want to always have proof that that business is operating on its own, and your personal life is over here. So, but
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
I like that. So if I'm going to see if I'm understanding what you're saying. All right. Let's say I
okay.
have a let's say I have a cleaning business and I form a little LLC and I'm cleaning along and I knock over a candle and I just burn that house down. Uh, Now,
This is a good
if I
example.
it and I just want to make sure I have this right. So if I do that, they could come after my LLC assets, but they can't come after my personal assets. Is that the way it works?
Absolutely correct. Now,
Okay.
here's the thing. There are some very important benchmarks and things to check off to make sure we are always in compliance. Okay, because it's very important. You don't want anybody to come at the LLC and come to find out, oh, your person was still very much mixed in with your business records. They, as the lawyers or as the legal process gets into it, they can't distinguish. Well, what's your personal assets? What's your business? AKA your funding, your accounts. This is why
Yeah.
business bank accounts are so important. Yes, we could just get paid, have people paying our cash out to us, but in the event that you're cleaning the house and you knock over a counter and you burn someone, you burn everything to the ground, we have to go to court. They need to be able to look at all your documents and say, okay, clearly this is a business entity that stands alone. They have separate accounts. It has its own EIN. It has its own registration with the state. Everything has been running here. We pay this business here. And they don't have access to your personal bank accounts, to your personal assets in your home and your cars. They can't say, hey, Billy, you messed up my house. You owe me this. No, it's going to be a fight with that business entity. So as long as we are in compliance as the owners or as the founders of the LLC, the answer to your question is yes, you are protected. They cannot do things. However, the other answer to that, if there be a case where we are not in compliance, right? Say we
Yeah.
skipped a year and we did not file our annual report, or they can't clearly see that the business is a separate thing. It doesn't have its own bank accounts. It doesn't have its own numbers and so on. Well, that could go into another story.
Yeah.
We just want, as long as you're doing the right thing and you're making sure the business is in compliance, you're completely covered. And it would be the business that would be, in the battle, in the legal battle, not anything under your personal name, your personal assets. So that's one of the most important things.
Okay. Gotcha. 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 All right. So I've got a scenario for you to help like kind of move along. Do you like puppies?
I like puppies. Now, as
All
it gets
right.
bigger,
Good.
I can get a little fearful, but I like little puppies. Let's go.
Little puppies. All right. So let's use an example because it's a real coaching example for me. I'm talking with a couple that's thinking about getting into the doggy kennel business.
Okay.
And so it's not something they're in right now. So this is a great stage for them to be thinking about what they need to think about. Okay, so you've got somebody that's going to buy a property and they're going to set up there's a home on the property and there's kennels on the property and
Mm.
they're going to have a business. They don't have anything done. How how do they start? Right?
Yeah.
How do they start? And so this is where I think, but just to give a little context to your talk, right? It's like, okay, here we go. We got a puppy kennel business. What do they need to do to get started so that they can have a legit business and be able to take care of their taxes, be able to have limited
Yes.
liability, be able to
Yes.
do all the things they need to do to be a legit business. Let's go.
Okay, from jump, you have to do your research with your local state. Because again, in the beginning of our conversation, we're discussing every state has different fees to get started. The main thing you want to do is go to your state registrations office and find out how much it is, what is the price to form a brand new LLC. And depending on what state you're in, they'll bring up the documents, the files. The number one thing you want to get is articles of organization. Okay, it's just a
Okay.
basic form saying on this date, this business entity was formed. It's going to give you an LLC number, which is actually separate from an EIN number. LLC number is specifically for your state records. The EIN number is for your federal records dealing with the IRS and helping you get funding and helping you get credit opportunities and things like that. But yeah, so you want to get the information from your local state. You want to
Okay.
have that money ready to go. And it could be one fee or two fees. Some states have initial filing report or annual filing report fee they want you to pay. And then also the fee for the articles of organization to get your LLC number. For myself personally, in the state of California, it is $70 to get the articles of organization and the LLC number to get officially, registered with the state as an LLC. And then it is a $20 initial fee just to get going. And then you have to pay that annual fee. Here in California, it's every 2 years. Some states is every 1 year, every year. So depends. But that's the number one thing. Check with your local state. How much is it to get started with a brand new LLC today?
Gotcha.
Next, during that
So what
process, okay, go ahead,
just
get your question.
one question about that. So how do you like I think everybody has fun picking out a name for their puppy thing or whatever. How do you how do you pick out how do you know if your name's good or not or that it's going to be allowed? Like you can't call yourself Starbucks, right?
Wow, that's so good. And Billy, great minds think alike, because I was transitioning into that topic.
Okay,
I was
okay.
gonna say,
Good, good,
yeah,
good. Okay.
if you're in the process of really researching what's needed for your state, you also definitely want to be thinking about your business name. Very important. This is like the most important thing that you're going to decide, because you want banks and lenders and creditors and investor partnerships and sponsors. You want them to take you seriously from the beginning. And the first thing that speaks for you is your name, your business name, okay? This I get excited about talking about this, Billy, because being a fellow creative, coming from
Yeah.
the world of music, we get very creative. We get very you know how it is. We have all these creative thoughts. Oh, it's gonna be this, we want to change this initial, and this word means this, and it doesn't mean that, and it represents the stars, and but
Yes.
I've stressed to everyone, it's so important during this part, as far as the documentation on file with your state for your LLC. The goal is to be as simple, as clean, as professional as possible. So very little creativity in this part. You want to look like, a professional business that can compete with the Apple, compete with the
Okay.
Tesla.
Okay.
You see where I'm going? Listen, Apple, Tesla, Amazon. A lot of these major trillion-dollar companies. Look at their names,
Yeah, they're
right?
simple.
And I think for us, the challenge is we're excited to start a business, but we have to pull it back, pull that creativity back, at least during this part. Now, I get excited because there is another addition to this where we can get super creative. That's when we get into the conversation about DBAs. Now that's coming, but right now, as far as naming your LLC, I always recommend, I give people an idea to use, consider their name first, their last name, of course. For example, if I was starting a brand new LLC and I just needed a name, a solid, if I wanted to change my name into an empire, I would go with Alston and then give a safe industry name. And you have to put LLC at the end of that. But I have like a naming formula, right? So I would go with Austin Enterprises LLC, and with that name, I can conduct all of my business mentoring, all of my business coaching. I can speak at events. I can have another project that I'm working on. If I choose to call it something else under that LLC name, that would be a DBA. We could talk about those things. But so
Yeah.
for example, for your the doggy company, the puppy company, and it's just me throwing something in out of nowhere. But I would consider, something simple. And kind of make it general. Like you want people to know what your LLC is and what it does, but also you don't want to, like get too, like I said, too creative. So maybe you know, Kennels Unlimited LLC. I don't know,
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
Kennel Collective Group, LLC. Just something kind of simple. It kind of has the name of that thing in there, but at the same time, the secondary name gives it a broader, industry. Um,
Okay.
and
Now,
that
just
broader industry name goes. I have a list for that, but go ahead.
yeah, so just one thing, I'm getting more sensitive because I'm getting more listeners and more people listening to my stuff. And anytime we use acronyms, I know exactly what you mean when you say DBA, but can you just tell everybody what a DBA is, like what it stands
Yes,
for?
absolutely. Very good question. DBA means doing business as. Okay. And this is where I get so excited, especially
There
again
you go.
for creatives, because once I tell, it's like I explained in the first part, like, hey, your LLC name needs to be clean, short, simple. And for a better lack of words, I say boring. This is not where you want to get too creative with the LLC name filing with the state. You want it to look just like all the other businesses. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. However, when it comes to marketing and promoting your personal brand and your personal projects and your products and your services, you can get as creative as you need to be.
Nice,
So
nice.
I think a lot of creators, I see them light up when I say this part because it's like, oh, I can do my creative name and this, that, and the other. Yes, you can. Whatever you need to do to get the point across to your audience that you're selling to, that you're promoting to, get creative, get in there. So when I say doing business as, and certain states have different requirements. They may want you to file like a statement, registered at DBA, just to show that that's what it's operating as under the LLC, and it may come with a small fee of $20 or $25 or so to operate that officially under the LLC. But so this allows you to, be on social media and promoting your t-shirt company or something, and
Nice,
you can
nice.
say, this is my superstar, swag t-shirt company, something like that. But that t-shirt company could be a DBA that's filed under your LLC. It's still under Austin Enterprises, using myself, LLC. You see what I'm
Love it.
saying?
Yes.
And so it all, either the funds and how I'm running that bank account from that t-shirt business, it's all going to go back, flow back to my LLC, which helps me later down the road when I'm ready to apply for business funding and credit opportunities and other things they need to see. The proof that this LLC is making money, is standing on its own. So my individual DBAs and my creative brands and products, I can have them as DBAs on my social media, right? I could still
Mm.
have an event or have a product or have a service and call it a thing as a doing business as, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
then filter it back under the LLC. So I get really excited about that because this lets you know, okay, on the more state, compliance side, I need to be straight up and down. I need to, not stick out like a sore thumb. I need to look legitimate, safe, trustworthy, and
Yes.
especially considering future opportunities for funding. I want banks and lenders to look at my business name and say, okay, this is a safe looking business. Let's look further into that file, see how we can help them. I could do that on one end, but on the other end, when I'm out and about and I'm being myself and I'm promoting my brands and my products and services, now I could get creative. This is the name of my t-shirt company, or this is the name of my podcast, right? This is the name of
Yes.
my podcast. You're not going to file your podcast as the LLC with the state, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that podcast is going to be making money, man, and you want to have
Yeah.
a cool name for your podcast, and that can be done as a DBA. You filter that into your LLC. So it gets deep, Billy, but I know we can't get into
That's
everything. These are
fun.
great questions that you're asking.
No,
Good.
it's super fun. I'm going to tell you how the DBA saved me. So my LLC is WJ Thomas Consulting LLC, and it's actually LTD, which is way back. It's old stuff, and so that's an LTD, but it's basically exactly the same protections as an LLC. But I started wanting to market myself as ALLJOY Data or
Okay.
ALLJOY Consulting. I just like that, data with a smile, that kind of thing.
Oh,
And
nice.
I started going down the path of just setting up another LLC, but it got so complicated to think about moving my bank accounts, all of the revenue accounts, the payroll accounts. I was like,
Mm.
no. And then someone smart like you said, Billy, what are you doing? Just do a DBA. And so that was WJ Thomas Consulting. I got ALLJOY Consulting. I got ALLJOY Data. I got the Finding Life podcast. It's like, yeah, just DBA, DBA, DBA. So that's so good. And I think the other thing that can really maybe help somebody is you don't have to spend 6 months trying to figure out your name. I love how you have like a little framework there. Take your name,
Yeah.
last name, Thomas Enterprises, Thomas Business.
Yeah.
call,
Instead of
call it,
Thomas
yeah,
Solutions. Listen, I love
Thomas.
the word
Yeah,
solution because whatever we're
I
doing,
like.
we're offering a solution, whether it's a product, a service. I love it. Solutions is one of my favorite ones to tell my clients, hey, your name Solutions LLC, that's it.
Yes,
But
yes,
they can, you can take a little time if you want to think about something else, something
yeah,
holding group, but I think the names for me, it gives people that quick win, like, oh wow, I didn't
yeah,
realize there was power in my name like that. And it doesn't, even though it's my last name, it still separates my personal. They don't have my first name, middle name, it's my last name with that professional industry LLC.
mm,
So now this is it feels different, it sounds different, and it looks amazing on paper.
no, that's so good. And this is very relevant for something. I just signed up a new client, another Fortune 500 client, and it's very exciting. But there's this onboarding process. One of the first things that they have you do as a vendor is you have to file what's called a W-9. And
Okay.
on that W-9, guess what they're asking? They want that EIN number, and then they want to
Mm.
know, right? They want the EIN number, and then they want to know the name of your company, and then if you're a DBA, they want that on there. But that's really all the form is. But what are they doing is just what you said. They're saying, are you legit? Right? You're gonna
Are
come
you
work. You can Yeah. If you're coming into my playground, you better have some cool tennis shoes.
Oh man, that is so good. I'm gonna use that. I love that. Yeah, if you coming into my world, you better have the right equipment. You gotta have the right
Yeah.
toys to play with us.
That's right. Yeah, you're not coming on my playground with them shoes falling apart, right? Go get
I
you some
love that.
Jordans or something.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
So
Yeah,
that's
man.
good. So we picked out a name. We searched within our state, made sure the name's okay.
Okay.
Uh, let's say we got our EIN, right?
Yeah.
So we've got our EIN. So that's that. No, it's like a social security number for business. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Your EIN is definitely your social security number for business. And you want to make sure you have that. And honestly, I tell some people, even if you're not ready with your business name, I mean, even if you're not ready to, you need your business name, but even if you're not ready to continue the next steps to complete your filing with the state, if you're able to go ahead and secure an EIN number, do it. It's free. And it's
Yeah.
something that you can have, right? It could be
Yes.
this thing what we call collective age. You know what I mean? And it's to our benefit to show that we filed a document on a certain date, especially as we get deeper into the conversation about funding. Some lenders and they want to know how long has it been in establishment. You know, even if you don't have all the marks checked off for your LLC right now. Sometimes it's good to just file and just have those things sitting, and you able to take your time as you can to complete your entire file. But the things that are free, like your EIN, I highly recommend people just get it. It's to your advantage. So yeah, it's your social security number for your business. Okay, this
Okay.
is what banks, lenders, creditors, the government would use for SBA contracts, grants, all kind of things, SBA loans, whatever. EIN is very important. They don't listen. They don't look at your LLC number. The only one needing an LLC number when you file and you register with the state is the state. That's how they're keeping up to make sure your LLC is in compliance with the state every year. But what the lenders need is your EIN. Okay, that's going to help you develop your business credit profile and give them something to go research just to make sure you're doing right by other lenders or where they need to start you at.
Very good. Very good. So, okay, so name established. We've got our EIN. What's next?
Okay, let me see. The next order of business would be taking care of your business phone number, your business address, and actually the business address needs to come somewhere at the same time with your the filing with the state and with your EIN. But
Okay.
the business address, you wanna try to get this right from the beginning. I try not to. I don't want people to get held up on this because sometimes you just need to get started. But if you can,
Yeah.
take a little extra time and get this right from the beginning. And what I mean, if you can avoid having to list your residential address as your business address, this helps because later funding is things like that. You're gonna need separation. Funders, lenders love looking and seeing that this is separate from your residential information. So, business address, you want to, if you can, get this right from the beginning and file that with your LLC document with the state as well as your EIN. If not, we just need to get started and get going and get those numbers secured. You could put your home address, but you will have to come back at some point to update an official business address. So I just feel like as less work as possible and as less having to go back and redo a lot of these things. That's the way that I would recommend we try to work. Business address, business phone number, official domain for your LLC, official website for your LLC, official professional email for your LLC. Those things are crucial. Now, here's the thing, Billy. These we've already talked about the mandatory things needed for the LLC and in
Mhm.
compliance with the state. Okay, it's really just those documents when you file with the state. They're going to give you articles of organization, a certificate of good standing. You do want to have an operational agreement. That's not something the state gives you, but there are a lot of files. I have one template. Just some business documents that you can get online. They give you templates, and you fill in the information. And for those of us that are entrepreneurs, right, we're not running big major corporations, not yet. Maybe that's the goal.
Yes.
But that operational agreement, I tell you, people get fearful of that. It could be about 8 to 9 pages long, but honestly, it's you going in there and you're filling out everything with your information because you are the owner, you are the
Yes.
manager, you are the employee. So I tell people don't
Yes.
get fearful of those long documents. It's okay. It's something to show I've taken the time to make sure I have everything needed that a lender will be looking for because they do ask. You have an operational agreement. Yes, I do. They go through there, they see your name on everything. It doesn't matter. That's really what's happening. It's me running this. I don't have a lot of partners right now yet. So they just want to see that you're legit. You've taken the time to, you know, take your business seriously. So they can take you seriously. But yeah, so what I'm saying, Billy, is that the important documents with the state, those things come first. The state registration office gives you that. And then you do
Okay.
need operational agreement. And then the next part, what I'm talking about now, these are additions, right? These are not mandatory to have an LLC. And I want to make that clear because I run into people really all the time and say, "Oh, I have my LLC, right?" And then I ask the next question. You know what that question is? I said, "Are you getting business funding? Are you getting business credit opportunities? Are you able to apply for grants and things like that?" They say, "Well, no," or "I tried, I was denied." Now, this is the next part of the conversation. This is where their business phone number, their business professional address comes in, the professional domain, website, email address. Okay.
Okay.
I get excited about this because the goal, we want to get funding or we want to have funding opportunities. Okay. And in order to do that, you want the lenders and the banks to take you seriously. And when I tell you, Billy, they look at all of these things. Um, I want to go a little bit deeper into the website conversation a little bit, Billy,
Okay. Sure.
because again, being creative. Let's go back to the conversation of your friends with the puppy company, right?
Okay.
Let's say they have a really cool website, or they're thinking of their website, right? And they have this really cool name, Funky Kennels Highlights or something .com or whatever. I think that's great. Happy Kennels, or whatever .com. I think that's wonderful. However, you want to be careful to make sure that that is not the website that you're using in association with your LLC. When you're going to the banks and when you're going to lenders and when you're sitting down for investment opportunities and deals like that, because what all the bank want to see is consistency, Billy.
Yeah.
They want to see your LLC name on everything as much as possible.
Okay.
They want to see your LLC with your EIN, the name. I'm gonna use myself again. Austin Enterprises. That's the name you see on my articles of organization, my EIN paperwork. That's the name you see on my operational agreement. Austin Enterprises LLC or just austenenterprises.com is what you're going to see on my website, my domain, my professional email address. For the sake of the LLC being in compliance and being funding, ready to receive funding, fundable, funding ready. The email address is going to be super simple. Info at austenenterprisesllc.com or just info at austenenterprises.com. I like using info, support, or contact. You can't go wrong with either one of those as a
No.
professional
No, that's
email
good.
address. But you think about the companies that you work with, Billy. When you get emails from whoever it is, it's something super, simple, and it shows that company's name. Support at thecompany.name.com. And I stress this because, again, think about those DBAs. So if we have different websites and different projects and different podcasts and different, keep those things, build those things. Let's get creative. Let's put out all of our creativity into the world. Do that. However, when it comes to this LLC, let's keep it simple, clean, professional, and trustworthy. We want to be consistent. You don't want to give the creditors at the banks any reason to have to do extra research and ask extra questions. You want them to see everything. Oh, this is legit. Everything looks the same. Let's go to the next part. What do you need? How can we help you? Because if they look, Billy, I tell you this, say if they get your file, you did everything right on the front end, right? You have your EIN, you have your paperwork with the state, but now they're looking at your website and it's different from what you said the LLC was. Your email is at Irene at gmail.com. They're going to be looking like, now we can need to ask some questions. Oh, is this your business email or is this your personal email?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't
Yes.
want to put any doubt. The goal is to get out all questions, eliminate all questions as much as possible. So I always tell my students and my clients, let's just be consistent across the board for our LLC and for the sake of funding. So yeah, I kind of
That's
went
good.
deeper there into your
No, that's
question, but I'm
good.
excited talking about that.
That's really good. One of the things, maybe a trend I'm seeing, I want to get your thoughts on this. So
Okay.
I've seen quite a few smaller businesses, instead of doing a website, they're doing a business Facebook page. Do you think that
Mhm.
that would fly? You think that would fly with the lenders or no?
Not at all. I'm gonna tell you
Really?
why. Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'll tell you why, Billy. The lenders do not care about social media.
Mm.
They're not going to look at Instagram, Facebook. TikTok, Now, the traditional, the bigger banks are not. Things are changing.
Yeah,
Things are
yeah,
changing
okay,
every day, Billy.
okay, yeah,
That I get excited about that conversation too. I mean, we're getting in a new world of opportunities and the new finance companies and tech companies, they're changing. So maybe there's a time coming where they're gonna say, "Oh, can you put what's your TikTok? What's your Instagram? What's your Facebook?" And maybe they'll consider those things. How many followers you got or whatever. I don't know. But I tell you this, as of right now, and from the research I've done, and based off my personal experience, they don't care anything about what we're doing on social
mhm,
media. They only care about what's in your filing, what's in your paperwork with the state. And this is why I also stress the importance of when people are naming their website for their LLC and just to be in compliance and to look fundable and trustworthy and safe. Don't get too creative. Don't stress that. All of this
yeah,
I tell you something, Billy, you'll be surprised. For someone who's hyper focused and you have a goal and you're on a mission, everything that I just mentioned, uh, from filing with the state to getting your business address, business phone number, a professional website, email, domain, all that, this can be done in about 2 days. It can
nice,
be for
yeah,
somebody who's super hyper focused. And I say that because this is not the time again where we're getting all creative. When even the website, it only needs to be almost like a landing page website. It can maybe have one
yes,
extra page to talk a little bit more about the services of your LLC, but that's it. It's just a landing page, my LLC name, a couple of pictures maybe showing, what the LLC provides. The next page could just be contact info. That's it. Because when the lenders go clicking on their LLC website, that's all they want to see. They don't care. They're not going to be clicking on all the tabs. So that goes into the conversation about Facebook, your Facebook business page, things like that. I think those things are beneficial for us in the marketing world and in
yeah,
the promo world when we're dealing with our
that's good,
clients and our peers, because
yes,
that's where we hang out. Well,
yes,
if we're talking about funding, right, and Bank of America and Wells Fargo and Chase, they don't care. They're not going to
no,
look at our
no,
social media. So
that's
two
right.
different conversations there, but it's good to know. Like, it's something to think about.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And if you have a website, it's much easier to get that professional email address that goes with your domain name, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's much easier to do that and to just have it all in one place. And Billy, to be honest with you, my top recommendation is always going to be GoDaddy. And
Go to,
just
okay.
for starters. And I say this, I'm talking about now for the LLC. And the
Yes.
reason I say that is because again, we're not getting too creative here.
No, no.
You know what I'm saying? GoDaddy
Yes.
is the most simple, user friendly. Nowadays, they're just doing it all for you. You can call them on the phone. By the time you get off the phone, you have a professional website for your LLC, your domain, your info, your email. You know what I mean?
That's
And
awesome.
they're one of the last companies building with consistent customer service, someone you can talk to on the phone.
Well, I
And so
love
for
that.
someone just starting out, that's very important. So I always recommend them. I recommend them for starters, just for your LLC website. Now, hey, look, when we get that creative and we're naming our podcast and we're doing our t-shirt company and we're trying to be super fly and have all the pages and all the designs and maybe it'd be okay to look at some other, companies. I'm sure some creative, some digital design people probably like, go daddy, because there's so many
Yeah.
options and
Yeah.
pages and tools and things using other companies. So for sure, get into some other things for our branding and our, creative projects. But just for this, man, go daddy. Safe, easy, quick, it's done.
Nice. Nice. So I know there's people out there that are throwing up their hands and they're going, this is gonna cost me $100,000. Like you're talking about you're talking about lawyers and accountants and programmers and all this stuff. But I think we need to set this. I think I need you to help me set the expectation for a new business owner. They're already like, we just need to take this fear away from them.
Yeah.
Ballpark it for us, Irene. Like, what's it going to cost me to get straight? And I know it might be a little bit different from state to state, but just help put an order of magnitude in. What's somebody need to look at to get things started?
Okay. Well, like, yeah, it definitely, like you said, we consider the difference from state to state, but I'm going to use my state as an example. California. Let's look at it. So the initial fees total filing with the state will be $90 total. That's for your LLC, for your articles of organization and initial report. $90 for that part. When we get into the conversation about business address, business phone number, there are some options. I really like the virtual options that they have now. I mean, now and then there's a way to get around that. You know, if you actually do have a physical address and a business number, you don't have to spend any extra money to do these things and set these things up. However, if you're, needing to use the satellite area or the virtual area, I tell my students and clients I highly recommend anytimemailbox.com. They set you up with a virtual business address to the point where you can go on that line on their website, pick your zip code, the area you want to work with. You know, they show you a list of addresses near your residential that can separate you. You could, and this
Yeah.
business will be set up to receive your mail. You know, you could use that as a business address. This may be a business office down the street. This may be another business building, but all of those businesses have been verified with this company, and also as an extra layer of protection, they're verified with the United States Postal Service. Okay,
Oh, nice.
so they're in agreement to do this work. They're in
Oh, great.
agreement to use their
I didn't
business
know that.
to, yes, yes. So it's not like we're just randomly going out here, hey, can you let me use your business address? No, these people are in compliance to register their business to provide that service. And so this anytimemailbox.com is great. And guess what? Only $10 a month to have a professional business address, Billy. So we're adding now. So where are we at right now? We got our state things, and we got a business address for $10 a month if we need to do that. Look,
Yes.
a virtual phone number. I love there's an app called Unitil. All of my students use this app, and I like the interface too. But I like to talk about Unitil because sometimes when you say business phone number, people automatically assume you need to go buy a new phone, you need to go buy a new line, and you don't. I love talking about this because again, another service for only $10 a month, Billy.
Mm.
And not only just $10 a month, let me tell you, it is amazing. It's an app that you set up on your phone. They give you a 1-800 number or just an 800 number, or you can choose a number that's an area code specific within your area. But when it comes to showing up on a caller ID, this and the other, you know what will come through? The name of your company.
Oh, wow. That's
The
cool.
name of your company, right? And this is a professional way to show, hey, I'm a serious, legitimate business. You're not calling my personal number. If I were to call out, you're not seeing Irene Austin come across your thing. Like you're seeing Austin Enterprises, and you're seeing my 1-800 number.
You're just giving it all away. No, hey, there's dropping a boom, 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 boom. This is good. I'm
But
telling you.
I wanted to do this because when you ask about the number, let's talk about it. I like hearing the breakdown. So where
Yes.
is it right now, Billy?
Yeah, like
We on
110.
listen, and this is our follow with the state. This is our business address and the business phone number. So about
Yes.
110, 120 right there. That's where we already have those things. Now, let's get into the conversation about your website, your domain, your email address. What I can tell you is that GoDaddy has a beautiful starter package, offering $30 a month for your website. It's really like 29 something, but I just say $30 a month. Think about it. For $1 a day,
Yeah.
$1 a day, you can have a professional website that validates the legitimacy of your business, of your LLC. You know what I mean? So let's add that to the bucket. Where are we at now? Where are we at now, Billy? On the
Oh,
money.
140. 140.
Okay, we're under 150. We're
Yeah.
under 150. And look at what all we've done.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
under
no,
150.
that's amazing.
Now, that's for the state of California.
Sure.
Like I said, I have some family and friends back home in the state of Tennessee, and I realized it's $300 for them to file their initial documents. So you have to start there and then consider everything from there.
Sure.
And then I've done some research, Billy, and would you know the most expensive states? The number one expensive state is Massachusetts. and then Illinois, and those get up to $500-600 to
Wow.
start out. Yeah, to do
Yeah.
the same thing, right? So I don't know the different, I don't know all the ins and outs of why it's that drastic of a difference, but based off my research and what I found, it goes from that extreme, and then some of the more lower end states where Mississippi, Arkansas, I think Kentucky, they're able to
Yeah.
have an awesome entry level price, about $45, Billy. $45. The state
That's
only
good.
asking for $45 or $50 to get registered with your LLC. That's amazing.
That is amazing. That's really amazing. So
So
to me,
yeah.
yeah, it sounds like if you would budget $500 for most states, worst case you're looking at 1,000. You can have a legitimate company set up with a website, with your EIN, with a phone number, with a professional email. Look, that anybody can do that. You can
Anybody
deliver.
can do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'll just tell you because I did it for my honeymoon. I got a job at Domino's Pizza to raise some money because I had something extra I wanted to do,
I
and
love
I
it.
did it. You do the moonlighting to get where you want to go, and if you need that
Yes.
extra 500, 1,000, get it done. Get it done.
Get it done.
It's not something out of reach from any person in America. Like that's in the United States of America. You can do this. If you
You
got a
can do it.
mindset or a framework that's going on in your brain that's a belief system that you can't, it's false. It's false.
Limited beliefs, man. We talk about these things all the time in our coaching program with Omar.
Yeah.
Limited beliefs.
You know what a bad belief system is?
Mm.
It's BS. Belief system. It's a bad belief system. So you can just say, if it's a bad one, you just say that's BS. You got a bad
That's
belief
right.
system. That's just BS. Well, it is. It is. It's a belief system that's bad. It's bad. And not all belief systems are things that take us to the place where we need or want to go, or what God's called us to do. And so we got to do. We need to double check our belief systems. Like, where it says in the Bible, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That means
That's right.
business plan. That means EIN number. That means articles of operation. That means get your stuff set up. Get legit.
Get your stuff going.
Get ready to be blessed.
That's right. I love that take. Get ready to be blessed, seriously, because look, that back to that question. Hey, what is it to me? I'm already working. I'm already making money. I already hit my gigs. Hey, get ready to be blessed on another level. Get ready to have the keys to unlock a whole world of opportunity that you didn't even know was available to you simply because you took these steps. And in the event, Lord forbid, but in the event, if a pandemic of any kind, Billy, let me tell you what I learned about the pandemic. That was just a pandemic of the world, right? Pandemics happen all the time in our personal lives. In the event, a major thing happens that sits us down, that changes the way we do something. There's an extra layer of protection. There's an outlet that you can say, okay, I wasn't using these services or I wasn't taking advantage of this, but I'm ready. I have these things set up. My numbers have been sitting, collecting age. Now I can go take advantage to say, I would like to get funding for this, or I would like to look into this partnership with you because you took the time to do this.
No, that's so good. And I just want to encourage you all that might be out there. Maybe you're an employee, or maybe you're looking for the next thing. If you've got that idea for the business, I just got to tell you, I believe that's a divine download from our Heavenly Father that's saying, I've got a way that I want you to serve, and I want you to help people. And because of the gifts I've given you, I need you to get out. I need you to sell those gifts into the world so that you can actually help people. And in the world we live in, the way you do that is with business, and to do it legit. You gotta listen to Irene because she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, Billy, I appreciate it, man. But yeah, I'm passionate about this work, man. I'm passionate about this work because that was me saying, hey, what is it to me? I'm doing my thing. I'm getting my look. I'm playing at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. I'm living life, right? But would you believe
Yes.
that during the performance, I didn't have any of these things set up?
No.
You know, and I look back and I will tell you, we live life with no regrets, but I found myself saying, man, I could have been at this because some of
Yes.
those funding partners, and this maybe we'll have a part two one day, Billy, because we can't get all.
Yes, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to do
Yeah,
because we're about out
yeah,
of time, but we're
yeah,
definitely gonna have to do it. And so let me just cue that up because there's a whole nother world, and this is like the foundation for you being able to ask anybody for some money. And I'll just say it doesn't matter if it's a family member. If you're gonna go to somebody and ask them to invest and to trust you, you've got to show yourself trustworthy, right? Is that right?
that's right, that's
Yeah.
right, that's
Yeah.
right.
And so I know you have a whole nother podcast in you that we're gonna come back to because we're gonna
Yeah,
have to because we're out of time for today, which I cannot
yeah, yeah.
believe. I mean,
Well,
it's
it's all
it's been
good.
it's been a lot of fun, but we'll come back to that. One of the things I want to make sure that I don't leave people hanging. If somebody
Okay.
wants to work with you, like they're like, hey, like I heard you say it's easy, but I want you to do it, or I want to talk to you, or I want coaching by you. How do I help people get in touch with you? Where do they go?
Well, you can send me an email directly to my first and last name. So Irene Austin class at gmail.com. Now, Billy, hear me when I said gmail.com, right? That's not the look, that's not the email address attached to my LLC. I tell you that. But
Okay.
it's an easy way. Sometimes you just use what sounds good and what's familiar to our ears when you're working with your peers. So for this program, you can just send me an email directly to Arean Austin class at gmail.com. We'll make sure you guys have that AREANALSTON at gmail.com. Just let me know you enjoyed the podcast on Billy's show
Nice.
today and you're interested in more information. I am offering some free materials. I have a checklist for you to look at some of the things we were talking about so you can look into it for yourself. Also, I am constantly building out my own community as well, Billy, to bring people into there so we can have these conversations on a weekly basis. We can highlight certain topics and go have a deeper dive conversation into those things on a weekly basis and help people do these things on their own. And also, I am preparing to offer my dump for you service to where for the people that don't have time, because some of it is time consuming,
Yes.
like I said, if you're hyper focused, you can knock it out in a couple of days. But sometimes it's not the case for all of us. And life is happening. School, we're working with the kids, the grandkids, we're doing all the things. So
For sure.
if you need a more dump you type of service, I can offer that as well. And it's based on individual situation. I need to see where you are, what you have going on, and we can go from there. But very reasonable and excited to do this service, do this as a ministry to help people get going. And
I
so
love
I
it.
look forward to hearing from you all. And Billy, I
Yes, sir.
had so much fun with you today, man. You're amazing. Your spirit, I totally understand why anything you do would be called joy or joyful or you just exude joy, man, and you give that to the world. And I know in many ways people give that back to you because that's what you put out. So thank you for being you, Billy. This was fun today. I had a lot of joy talking about.
Same here. Same here. It was a great conversation. Hey, I want to pray over you and your family, and I want to pray for those that might be. I know God's tickling somebody right now. He's tapping them on the shoulder. And so let's pray real quick, okay? All right,
Okay,
Lord, I
let's
just
do
thank
it.
you for today. I thank you, Lord, for this great conversation we've had. And I thank you, Lord, for Irene, who has just so generously poured out all of her knowledge and her passion for helping people get their business started. And for anybody today, Lord, that you might be leading and directing and nudging to get that business started, I pray that they would just be obedient, that they would listen, that they would move forward into your blessing of that business.
Yes.
And we just pray all this name in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Yay.
Awesome session today. This is amazing, man.
That was good. So good.